Good morning, Facebook Live. So sorry our time has been way off this month.
It has been a little off. We moved the time and then we had to shift it back a little as well.
Right.
But
it's the life of a publicist. We had a meeting pop up, and then God knows, of course, everything has to happen this morning. So sorry we're a little late, guys, or a little early, depending on which part you were planning on.
We're kind of right in the middle now at 11. So
yeah, right. So you may be on your lunch break, you may not be, but regardless, we are here. I'm Cynthia Craddock, and this is Elizabeth.
Hello,
Gould, and welcome to March's Open for Business. And Liz, what are we talking about today?
So today we're talking about social media crisis management, which you might think you are excused from, or that your organization or company is too small. But honestly, even if you're an individual, you can still have a social media crisis.
Gosh, that's so true.
Everybody, even if you are, small business owner, it's just you on your team, you still need to hear this and know it because it's so important for you.
Right, and this translates to any industry, any person, brand, whatever it is, you need to be prepared for, which we'll get to, and then know how to deal with the social media crisis.
Even like, just as you said that, I personal blogger. That's kind of one of those things where you're thinking, oh, well, it's just me. Well, these things can still hit. And with social media and technology the way that they are susceptible to coming at any time, really.
Right. So I know, those of you who are familiar with our Open for Business series, it really is set up to be a book club of sorts for a new age. So we share an article every month. We'll paste it in the comment section for you guys. It's also in the event description. But before we jump into their article, because when and I'm not bashing them, but they really are talking about during a crisis, which is great. During a crisis, you need to know how to handle it. But that gives me anxiety that they're not even talking about before the crisis. So let's back up and talk about how to prepare for a social media crisis. How do you set yourself up for success? And we're just going to share a few tips from us. But Liz, what are your thoughts? How do you set yourself up for success?
So I think that one thing that I would just to start out this conversation is to always be engaged in news that is not only in your industry but also just in general, to know what else is going on, what other crises are happening, and then what could affect maybe your business or your organization. But
completely agree. Yeah. We talk every morning about, oh my gosh, did you hear the PR crisis that's happening out of, not to name names, but the big school that's in our school and our state that had a huge crisis this week.
Yeah.
So that's just something. We're in the industry, we're always staying up to date on news, but I think that it's important for every business owner or individual. You have to know what's going on to know what may affect your business.
And what hot topics people are responding, negatively or that are divisive, because you don't want to post about those, obviously, if you're trying to remain neutral. So always knowing kind of what the public's eye is focused on at the time, and what people's thoughts are is helpful for you when knowing what to release online and what might be hitting your industry. You never know. You might be in construction and there might be a wave of people saying, I don't know, but it could be anything.
It could be anything. So one thing we always recommend, and this is something that old school PR people are trained on. I won't even say old school because it's actually really new age, but when you go to college for PR, you usually take a social media and PR class. And in that class, they talk about social media policies. And I've given speeches on social media policy. That could be a whole nother Open for Business. I will not get into all of that.
Yeah.
But it is essentially, in a nutshell, a do's and don'ts package of what your brand should say online, what it shouldn't say online, what your values are, what your key messaging is, who should be responding to what. Sometimes employees of different brands like to take it upon themselves and I saw someone bashing Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
This is a great example I always use. It was a Coca-Cola person. They saw that someone was bashing the brand online, and they stepped in and personally tried to correct the person. Oh no, our brand qualities. No. don't.
Yeah.
There is someone to do that. So
and that can spark a major flame.
Right. So there's a bunch of different threads about like you have to tell someone that you're representing the company, like that's a thing. You have to tell the public that, you know, I actually am employed with Coca-Cola, whatever it is. You have to identify who you are. You have to have your key messaging. So create a team, create a policy, and tell people, like, in your employees, like, here's what we want you to do if you see something on social media. We want you to report it. We don't want you to respond to it. Very, very, very different. So that's something. So social media policy, keeping up to date with news, I think all of that sets you up for success in general with social media. But then let's talk about how to make sure that you're covered for crisis, because that's what this whole speech is about right now. So within your policy, you should even have a small section that talks about your PR crisis team. When you're establishing a crisis team, whether it's on social media or whether it's in real life, like outside of online spectrum, you need a spokesperson. You need the person who's monitoring things. You need your legal team. You need your PR team. You need all of these different perspectives to come together. That's just in crisis in general. In social media, it's essentially the same, but you don't really need a lawyer yet unless it gets really bad. If it's to the point where you need a lawyer, then you should really be scared, because that's terrifying. But normally for a PR crisis online on social media, you need your spokesperson, you need your person who's monitoring everything, and then you need the person who will be responding to comments. So essentially there could be a team of one person. It could be
depending on your size.
Like it really depends. You know, there are brands who are, it's a mom and pop shop, and the mom is social media guru who's on there just, you know, handling it. So other times you have a whole team of like 15, like
but everyone in your organization should know who that team is. That way other people feel like it's handled. They know.
Confident.
They know I don't have to respond to this because someone else is already on top of
Let me just tell that person.
Exactly.
So then once you have like your team of like, this is who is handling it, you need to define what a crisis is for your brand.
It's different for everyone.
Is it something that, is it a negative comment? Is it a negative review? Does that constitute a crisis for you? Because in a lot of brands it doesn't. A crisis essentially, in most definitions, is when something is going viral or there's a ton of traction for different comments or posts about your brand that are extremely negative, or being shared about you that are extremely negative. So define what a crisis would look like for you. Is it about your products? Is it about your services? Is it about something the owner said?
Or even something to be aware of is past employees. It doesn't matter if someone, you know, when sometimes your own employees can be your worst enemies, whether they leave on good terms or bad terms. You just never know. So being aware of those type of comments as well, and kind of, you know, across all different platforms, on Yelp or Google Review and all of those good things. Even on, what's the one that you can find jobs and whatnot, and people will go on there. Glassdoor, being aware of all of those platforms.
Those are social media. That's essentially a social media platform. I will say too, once you, like, I would take a whole day and just really drill down of like worst case scenarios. I hate to say that, but worst case scenario, if we fired someone bad, what's the worst thing they could do to us on social media? And then create, how would we handle
It's not always that you can just delete the comment, right? You
know? And a lot of people will say, don't delete the comment. Do not delete comments. So
they would say that.
That is not the way to handle things. Respond to the comments, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I really think that if you take a whole day, think of your worst case scenarios, and then be like, for each one, how would I address this one? How would I address this one? Would you respond? Would you direct message? Would you get your lawyer involved? However it is, create a protocol. I am all about protocols.
Yeah.
Liz knows this. I'm like a protocol queen.
It's helpful for everyone because then you just know exactly what to do. You have those guidelines for if any different situation were to happen.
Right, and your key messaging. Like, so you have your guidelines, you know, like what you would say. What exactly is your key, like one sentence, create a key message for each of your worst case scenarios. And then just continue to monitor. That comes into where this article starts.
Yeah, they actually call it social listening.
Right, which I like that.
Yeah,
that
it's good. Yeah. Just always being aware of what others are saying. And they actually name a few platforms that can help you do that as well. If you have a plethora of social media outlets, then I believe it's called TweetDeck.
I like social mention. That's my favorite.
I've used that one as well. That one seems to be a good one. And then there's some that are, I used one in my master's program. I can't recall the name now. Very expensive program, but it truly will give you so much data about what people are saying. So larger corporations could use that one.
I would love to see that.
Yeah. It was that one was really.
If anyone wants to sponsor Open for Business, we'll take the highest level social media. Yeah. But no, you can do. Although I love data, I am the numbers girl. But if we could have like. You don't need that for a lot of different brands. We usually use Social Mention or TweetDeck. Those are the ones that across the board, they cover your bases, and they do a really great job.
And if you're just using, one per se, you don't even really need one of those. You can just kind of scan that on your own, which is helpful as well.
Okay, so now. Dun, dun, dun.
Crisis hits.
And it's horrible.
Yeah.
And you're terrified. You're in your room with a blanket, like, what do I do here? Like, do you shut off everything? What do you do? So what's the first step, Liz? What do I do?
So first step is that you take control. Because
get out of the blanket?
Yes, get out of the blanket. Get out of your blanket. Oh, you can start your laptop for just a minute, but after 30 seconds, you need to open it back up and you need to take control because if you don't, it's going to only spiral further, honestly. Okay.
So, and to really take control too, a lot of brands, which we highly recommend, if you already know like some, or we call them evergreen posts, if you have those scheduled out on your post and you're like, oh my gosh, at 1 p.m. today, it's going to hit that, we love ice cream or something random that has nothing to do with the crisis that's happening for you. Pause your scheduled post. That is the first thing. Don't keep posting positive things.
Right.
You need to address what's going on here.
Because anything that comes out after the crisis hits, people are just going to assume that you're ignoring it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's scheduled. It doesn't matter if it's a neutral post, if it's a happy post. It doesn't matter what it is. Right. The second that the organization or company then comes and says something that is not related to the crisis is going to really inflame the situation. So
absolutely. And, from a consumer point of view, if I was the one who had an issue and I'm like, so-and-so did something horrible to me, I can't even think of a bad crisis because I don't even want to put that out to the
American Airlines.
Okay.
There you go.
American Airlines. I was on one of those flights and I'm like, and then I saw like, the skies are clear today.
Right. You would be livid.
What?
Why aren't you paying attention to the fact that, one of your staff just was dragging, a passenger down the aisle.
You want to talk about clear skies? That's what you want to talk about? No. Pause your post. Don't do anything until, I don't say don't do anything, but pause your happy scheduled post. The next thing is, again, go back to your list of like horrible what ifs. What is this crisis? Determine what it is. Determine what your key message will be. You can't really create a key message until you know what the issue is. Like
all the way around too, not just the first comment that started it, but what are people saying in response? Are there people backing you up? Is it just one comment and a lot of supporters of your organization, or is it one comment that is now turned into thousands of haters of your company? You have to, and that's also where the article comes in. They talk about the stoplight analysis. Is it green, yellow, or red? What's the severity of the situation? You really can't find that out until you dig deep and take the time. It's really it's tempting to be like, I want to stop this now, but you really have to evaluate first,
right,
and take the time to do that.
Something we always recommend too. So I mentioned earlier, don't delete posts.
Mm-hmm.
That is very true. Do not go and just be like, oh, I'm done with this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to delete it off. No, you need to address it. Respond to the person, no matter if you know it's true or false. And here's why. So if you're someone on social media and you see a post that says, this brand was horrible to my family and showed up drunk to my house.
Mm-hmm.
If you saw that as a comment, you're like, well, I don't want that bug man or whatever coming to my house. Like, he was drunk and he was horrible to that family. If in response to that comment, you saw a message from the brand saying something along the lines of, we take this matter very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
At our company, we uphold the value of always being on time and giving our customers the best experience. Whatever your mission is,
right?
It's usually very customized there. Please contact us
mm-hmm.
at this number or this email, and we would love to get this resolved immediately.
Mm-hmm. And you'll see that on the big companies' comments.
You see, they don't delete things,
mm-hmm.
because then the person just comes back and says, this brand just deleted my, like, you inflame the situation
mm-hmm.
when you delete something, because I'm just going to come back and hit you harder.
And Starbucks, if you go through their comments on Facebook, there'll be people who said, so-and-so is so rude to me, and you'll just see a copy and pasted message. You might think, oh, that's a little bit not personalized. But to the person who's commenting, it's really self-satisfying to see when Starbucks replies and notices your comment,
Immediately responds and immediately tells you, like, we're here to fix it for
right.
you. Call us. Sometimes during my studies when we were doing PR crisis social media work, they even said, like, depending on the situation, you may need to offer a free service or a good to get that person to mm-hmm. be an advocate for you.
Right.
So they come back onto your social media platform and change what
mm-hmm.
they say. They either delete their comment, they change their comment, or they respond back and say, actually, I talked to Cynthia at the brand. They worked with me so well, and she actually set me up with X, Y, and Z. Thank you for your help.
Yeah.
I've seen that time and time mm-hmm. again. That's how you address it.
And that's kind of a cool thing too, just to see the bright side of it. Crises can be an opportunity to turn a lot of haters into your biggest supporters, depending on the way that you respond.
Absolutely.
So
now, the bigger the crisis, though, that comment's not going to work.
Yeah.
You're going to have to change it, and you're going to have to say, like, we take this matter very seriously. We're investigating
mm-hmm.
this. Please give us time to investigate what's happening. In the meantime, please call or email this person
mm-hmm.
to give us your firsthand account. We'd love to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that shows that the brand is engaged, is really listening to what you're saying, and is right out of the gate looking into it. Like, okay, that's what you said. Don't apologize.
Yeah.
Don't ever apologize online, because that shows that you are taking responsibility for whatever it is, and you can be held liable in court.
Right.
So that disclaimer there.
Yeah, that would be a time for a spokesperson, and after a crisis has been fully evaluated and there's been something majorly wrong on your company's behalf, then there would be obviously some type of formal apology said
right.
or written in
and
whatnot.
That comes later.
Yes,
after
much later. But don't start with an apology no matter what.
No matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Really start with just saying that we really want to hear from you. We really take this matter seriously,
mm-hmm.
and we want to understand what's going on. Don't ignore the situation, but get them off of the social sphere. I can't stress it enough. Get them offline. You need to get them into your inbox, your phone,
mm-hmm.
whatever it is. It needs to be handled that way. And then just continue to monitor messaging. And I think that's something that the other article mentioned too. Just continue to monitor.
You might think a crisis is over until, it's first back up, and it can years later, of course, mm-hmm. but really after the fact. There's some people who unfortunately, don't really keep up. And then a week later, like, whoa, what is this? And then you have a second wave. So things might seem calm for even an hour or so, a couple days. But keep on alert for those things, because you never know when it might spark back up with a second or third wave.
And then remember, you're going to weather the storm.
There's another side to it.
Going, yes. Don't just completely delete your accounts. Don't
try to just start new accounts or anything of that nature at all.
Just keep going, keep responding, keep doing what you're doing, because you're trying your best as a business owner. I have to believe that every brand out there isn't some horrible person trying to get ahead and ruin people's lives. Like, they are, like, even the Southwest Airlines, they weathered the storm. They realized that this is happening. We're taking your matter very seriously. Here's what we're doing to correct it.
Yes.
And we hope you'll stay on board. And then you just let them talk. And you just gotta let it get out there.
Exactly. And I took one of their flights the other day and didn't think a thing of it. No. And then today, we're talking about social media crisis. That I thought, that airline, that was a huge crisis. But people forget about it. Even the Volkswagen. That passed, and people buy the cars now. It's not going to last
too long at all. People's attention spans are like,
and there's always another crisis on the horizon for someone else.
Yeah, so just get through it. I mean, Nike had a big social media crisis this year and weathered the storm, and they actually liked all the attention that they got. Their stock went up because of all the crisis that happened to them.
There's positive signs.
Yes, just keep going. Don't be disheartened by a crisis. Don't think that this is the end of the world, because it's not. It's really not. You'll get through it. It's just keyboard courage. Yeah. People are feisty.
They are. And another thing, as this crisis comes to a close, it is good to, once it's completely done and you're not swarmed in emails and comments and whatnot, it's good to get your social media crisis team back together, look back, look at the timing, look at the comments, the responses, and see what you've done, what you could have done better, and then try to modify your plan a little bit to better prepare for the next time.
Absolutely. And that same note too, look at your sales. See if that crisis really affected you the way that it felt like it affected you, because the words on the screen cyberbullying is a thing. So if it's your brand, you're going to feel personally insulted when someone says something negative about it. But did that actually result in people not buying your product or not supporting you anymore?
It might not have.
Like Nike's, it didn't. It actually had the opposite effect, even though everyone in the media, everyone online was like, I'm burning my Nikes. Guess what? You went out and bought another pair. Like, that did not hurt them at all.
And LL Bean had a similar situation. Their supporters, I believe, kind of really took up on their behalf and were like, well, we're going to go buy everything. So it's like, sometimes your sales actually might have an opposite impact that you think, but you need to take a look at them, because, you might be feeling so down on your brand or organization, but the sales might not have had any negative impacts at all.
Right. And just one thing I forgot to mention in planning, look at, if you're a smaller firm, look at other firms across the nation and follow them on social media. Similar firms. Look, like I follow different PR people on Instagram all the time, because I want to know what they're doing across the country. What's New York? What's Chicago? What's LA?
Right.
What are even small boutiques like Charleston? I love Charleston. Follow them too. So there's just, I want to know what they're doing that works, but also if they have a crisis and you can follow that, that's very interesting.
It is. It's interesting to see how they respond, and how they kind of navigate the situation, and it gives other people a good idea of what works and what doesn't before it hits you. So
absolutely. So in closing, I guess just remember to always be prepared, create your social media policy, create your plan for crisis, create your team, monitor. When it hits, don't be afraid. Close down the actual posts that are scheduled. Pause everything, address the situation, respond to people, and then weather the storm, get through it, and analyze it.
Yep.
Anyone have any questions about this? I know that was a long conversation, a lot of information put into one. I'm happy. I have dealt with social media crisis several times. So if you have any questions, not me personally, so don't go look on my page. Like there's nothing there. But as far
no
as
individual crises.
No, but brands have come to us, and we have handled social media crisis. So I'm happy to share firsthand experiences. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Just let me know. We'll be monitoring the comment section. See a few of you watching, which is great. Hey guys, chime in a comment if you want to. If not, we're gonna wrap up in about 2-3 minutes. How long can I keep rambling? And then we'll just continue to monitor the feed.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic, and there's always, like you said, it's like it's so fun to look at the big ones like the University of Georgia and American Airlines. I know, ugh. But it's just
say ugh or ugga. And if you haven't looked up their crisis, why don't you Google them?
Awful. But it is really important, for small business owners to look at other small businesses across the board and see how they are handling social media crisis and things of that nature. So.
Yeah, and again, we're always local, so if you have any questions and you see us out and you're like, hey, did you hear about this crisis?
Please tell us.
Please tell us, because we love this guy.
Yeah, we want to hear about it and see how.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in this Open for Business for March. We'll have April's coming up soon. If you have a topic you want to hear that's PR related, or small business related, or large business related, we will get it on the schedule. So send us an email, shoot us a text, or send us a message. Y'all have a great day. See you later.
Bye.